Thank you all. Thanks, Manu.
Good to be here.
So exactly 2 years ago, you took a new role of Chief Customer Officer at a new area at McDonald's, the customer experience area. So, and you have 20 years of company, a previous history with the brand. How did this personal history and all your experience contribute to your role in this new area of the company? And also, the area was founded during a critical moment of COVID-19 pandemic. So how was it?
Yeah, so maybe a couple of things and go back a bit to my personal history. I kind of grew up in a McDonald's restaurant. So my parents were owner-operators in Belgium. My father was an engineer. My mother was a nurse. And when my father was done with traveling, he had seen McDonald's in the US, came back and said, I want to start my own business. And he opened a McDonald's restaurant in 1978. And I actually have witnessed and been part of the journey the brand has been in Europe. And just to remember everybody, in 1978, nobody knew in Europe what McDonald's was. And so I've worked in the restaurants of my parents between the age of 14 and 22, and I still carry that time as well for different reasons. But the one that to me is very, very sticky and has guided me throughout my full career is the fact that we cannot take our customers for granted. And in an industry that is so competitive, where there's so many alternatives, it's even more true. And so we need to be on top of our game. We need to be delivering the customer value they expect, and the expectations are only going up. So I always remember that piece. And I think the other piece for me is when I actually joined the company is seeing this company from a different perspective. 40,000 restaurants, 115 markets, and seeing what the ability of scale is and what the potential and the negative sides of scale are, I mean, for me has been tremendously important. The third thing you touched upon was COVID. And I would say COVID for us, blessing and a curse. We had just launched delivery across the majority of our markets. So that was a channel we had just opened, so a bit of luck there. But of course, we have drive-thrus across the world in our restaurants. And so despite all the challenges we've had, decisions we've needed to take, it has actually helped us drive growth and drive market share. And coming out of COVID, it's actually has driven the business forward for us.
Well, you serve more than 45 million people every day. And we're talking here about a 68-year company. It's a pre-internet era company. So, and how does digital technology helps to improve customer experience and also the interactions with the brand today?
Yeah, it's actually 65 million.
65.
I might have, it's
okay,
65 million
65
a day, and it's a big part of what sits in my mind on a daily basis. To give you a couple more numbers, 115 markets, 40,000 restaurants, and on average in our biggest markets, we have a reach and a scale of about 80 to 90% of every inhabitant actually visits us at least once a year. And so that's what scale and reach we have in markets. And so the thing that sits in my mind is, so how do you translate this kind of physical reach, physical scale into the digital space as well? And then what is the unlock that could generate? And I think the audience here actually are better than myself probably understand how much of an unlock that potentially is. So that's one part. The other part is we have been on our digital journey already in the last 20 years. I've been part of the team that started kicking off self-order kiosks when I was spending time in France. And it started off as a need for more capacity. Counters are too small. We cannot fit more registers. It's very busy in our stores. How do we solve for this? It actually came from there. But I actually also noticed how customers loved interacting and what the customer benefits were. And when we started interacting with our customers, they actually started telling us why they enjoyed it and how they thought we could even create more value for them. And so that actually kicked off a lot of the thinking we had around digital and how digital could impact our business in a very different way. Add that to the scale, add that to the personalization that is coming and what we're looking at in the future, and I think it's a tremendous unlock for us.
Well, in the second half of the year, you're launching the Speedy Labs.
Yes.
At the headquarters in Chicago. You also have innovation centers. So what do you expect of this lab inside headquarters, how it will influence the culture of innovation of the company?
Yes, so maybe historic perspective, innovation center, main focus over the last 20 years, and by the way, massive value we've driven through that, has been on process re-engineering, has been on kitchen equipment, innovation, and has been around menu. Exactly what we needed in a time of growth. What we're seeing now, and part of that is why we've created this Chief Customer Officer role as well, is that that is not enough anymore. And we are entering this new digital age. The interaction and the relationship we have with customers are kind of continuous. And so we need to think differently about how we design experience for our customers. So I think a good example, if you go back 15 years ago, customers actually had three options. I could come into a restaurant, I could order at the register, and then I could take my food, sit and eat, or I could order at the register, pick up my food, leave, or I could take my car and go through the drive-thru. So we actually had three customer journeys. It's still manageable, three options for the customer. You add self-order kiosks, you add a global mobile app, you add delivery. We're now adding multiple customer journeys. And to be able to design every single one of them and make them personalized, we need to bring more capabilities together. And so what we're doing is we're actually moving the Innovation Center with all its skills and capabilities into MHQ, and we're actually elevating them by bringing our product teams, our restaurant design teams, our menu development teams, all close to the same team to actually redesign in a cross-functional way end-to-end customer journeys across 15 different customer journeys. And so bringing that team together as one. Two is there's always this risk when you bring it into the corporate headquarters, you kind of kill innovation. So it has its own kind of dedicated, very light governance. It had its own framework of thinking about what are actually the most valuable problems for us to solve, what are the pain points, both our customers and our restaurant teams, you know, are living through every day, and how do we tackle those? And so we're actually laser focused on identifying what those pain points are and solving for those, but at the same time, viewing an end-to-end customer journey and redesigning them to the individual level of our customers. And so that's what we're doing, bringing Speedy Labs in our MHQ.
Of course, you're going to talk about AI. This is the hot topic. Patty Cosgrove mentioned it. And all the sectors of economy and industries are using AI models and applications. And of course, the food and restaurant industry is using it right now. So for you, what does this, how does this AI-based models are contributing to your area, and what do you expect of it, the outcomes for the next few years?
I think the opportunity is massive. I think the disruption is going to be massive. I would say we're currently still in an education phase, trying to understand, playing a bit around with it, but actually, you know, still learning of what the true potential is. I mean, I can imagine a time where a restaurant manager in one of our 40,000 restaurants would have his own or her own co-pilot, helping them making sense of all these customer journeys, of all these customers, predictive demand. I mean, that would be a massive unlock, I think, from a customer experience perspective. And I can see how it's going to drive even deeper personalization and engagement with our customers. So it's clear there's opportunities and massive opportunities for us. And I think scale will play an important role. And I think, to the point that we discussed before, I think we're in a unique position with the scale that we currently have and the amount of data personalized data that we have as well. So I think a huge unlock, but at the same time, you know, there is things to consider. There is privacy, there is risks that we shouldn't acknowledge neither, and that's why I'm saying, yes, this is going to be part of our journey, but at this point still in a more educational phase of learning what the real potential is going to be in the future.
Okay, when you mentioned playing with it, you said studying, but not applying any Gen AI in the field.
We do like real estate analytics, you know, is a field where we're looking at it. We'll probably talk a bit about opening as well, but in real estate, definitely there's opportunities and things we are looking at. And so there are spaces where we are, I would say, playing around, but not to the full unlock of what the potential is, because I think the potential is what we're going to be seeing in the next kind of 5 to 10 years. So.
Well, but in another area, you were doing tests. In December, you launched a store that has no inside seating, right? It's focused on to go with drive-through, and the company is also a benchmark for drive-through. 45 years of this model. And you launched this test store in Texas in December. And how was it? Do we have any outcomes of this test? Plans to expand this model?
So maybe a couple of things on there. We have been growing the business over the last 3 to 5 years, actually exponentially. And so we have earned the right to open more restaurants. And we're actually being really laser focused on what that opportunity exactly means. We have seen some shifts in channel usage with delivery coming up. But we actually feel that restaurant experience and dine-in experience will always be part of our DNA and one of the experiences we want to offer our customers. So when we think about opening, when we think about density, which is important for us to maybe talk about as well, we actually first of all think about where can we build more traditional restaurants. We are playing around, but that's the benefit of being in 115 markets. UK is playing around with delivery kitchens. Latin America has dessert kiosks. And so one of the tests we've done and pilots we've done in the US is this no dine-in, drive-through, fully focused on takeaway, delivery, and drive-through. And actually it's more of a format size challenge and getting closer to our customers than it is about, is this a model that's going to be the majority of our openings? Majority of our openings are going to be traditional restaurants, but where space is a constraint, but there is business opportunity, can we go in with a smaller footprint? That's absolutely something that we are looking at. So that's one piece of the puzzle. I talked about density before. Density actually for us is critical, and especially when you continue to think about delivery. And delivery is interesting. It's just another proof point for me how sticky convenience is. If you think about COVID era, of course, people went to delivery and ordered online because there was very little alternative. My expectation was, post-COVID, this will reduce. We haven't seen reduction. And so we see very sticky, despite inflation, despite some of the challenges around food inflation and cost, that customers actually continue to order. It's like this gift of time that we talked about before as well. Like, why is convenience so sticky? It's actually sticky because you're actually allowing people to do something else with their time. Now, as a brand, there's things that we need to be considered about, and especially when you think about the experience that you offer to a customer that has ordered delivery. Food quality and price are two essential ones on them, and so we do feel the need to get closer to our customers, not only in understanding customer behavior and getting into personalization, but also physically get closer to our customers, because to me it's like this symbolic fry. So how would I be able to offer a hot, crispy fry to every single customer that orders delivery? And I think to do that, we will need to get closer to our customers. And so this idea that we worked and started working on in Texas about small footprints is one direction, and it is also iteration, because we started there at the size that we were. We're actually already looking at halving the size again of that same building that we've built in Texas.
This is interesting point because in Brazil also the delivery rates are the same, like a little bit lower than the critical COVID-19 pandemic moments, but it's a culture, like the convenience is still sticks and people order. What people do is that due to inflation and our economic situation, people look for the price of their order. This is the difference, but people still ask, and they want the fries very crunchy when they arrive. That's true. Customers are very, how can I say, well, their priority, right? And
I mean, the expectations are going up, Danny. I mean, there's no way back into expectations. It's not because I, as a customer, can order delivery from my phone when I'm sitting in my couch that I would accept a fry that is not hot and crispy. So,
yes, sometimes. Well, you mentioned that. So what are the key challenges for you related to digital transformation in your area today?
So we talked a lot about the benefits of the scale we have when you think about the future and the massive unlock in potential that we have as an organization. I think what comes with that is also how do you move a company that sits in 115 markets, that has 40,000 restaurants and keeps on adding, more than 2,000 restaurants a year. How do you keep up with the customer? Because the speed at which technology is changing, the expectations, the way you engage, but also the way that customers can order and enjoy our food is kind of moving at an incredible speed. And so there's a couple of things in there. One is going to be cultural and mindset, and we have historically been very focused on process and execution and standardization. We need to move into more agile and iteration and innovate close to our customers. Not with a massive, big solution that we deploy across 40,000 restaurants, but actually with small solutions with our customers that we can scale after that across 40,000 restaurants. And that's a very different way of thinking about how do we as an organization, as a corporation, innovate versus how we've innovated at the past. And a lot of our thinking has always been, I have a business problem, let's build a solution for that. But the part that I think in technology that is going to be important here, I mean, the journey and the transformation we're going to be seeing, is that it's actually human-centric. And technology for me is an enabler. It's not the goal itself. And so from defining a business problem into building a solution, you need to take into consideration the, actually behavior of our customers and understand what their needs are, what their pain points are. And not only for them, because one of the things that we've seen in this role as Chief Customer Officer, if you think about customer experience, there's such a clear correlation with what happens in front of our house with what happens at the back of the house. And so we not only 100% laser focused on customers, we're also 100% focused on our restaurant teams and how can we make their lives easier? How can we make the way that they can interact with their customers more valuable? How can we make sure that they enjoy their jobs better on a day-to-day basis and improve their experience in our restaurants as well? And for me, it's like this yin and yang. We cannot ignore the people that actually run our restaurants and just think about our customers. We need to think about our customers, be laser focused, but be considerate about the needs of our restaurant teams as well. And I think if you use and apply technology in that way, it's a massive unlock. You combine that with the scale we have as an organization and the capabilities we can bring to the table, I think the future looks bright, but it's human-centric and it's technology that is the actual enabler.
Thanks so much, Manu. Thank you all.